Hello there, and welcome to today's webinar on our LiveAway trip to Koh Samui, Thailand. This is one of our liveaways to our so-called tropical destinations. A great place to get away if you're somebody that appreciates tropical weather, sun-soaked beaches, but also learning a little bit about the culture and witnessing the amazing beauty of the country of Thailand. Now, for those of you who participate in many of our Wheel and Anchor webinars, you may want to jump right ahead to see the map and day-by-day itinerary of our trip. But if you're new to Wheel and Anchor, I encourage you to follow me through the next couple of slides where I'll explain a little bit about what our community is all about. At Wheel and Anchor, we're much more than just a travel company. In fact, we're a community of like-minded Canadian travelers from all across the country. And what we have in common is our desire to seek out experiences that go beyond the traditional tourist tracks. But don't get me wrong, because there's nothing wrong with visiting all the popular tourist destinations. They're obviously popular for a reason. But we look to create experience that combine the most important touristic highlights with elements that are perhaps a little less well known, and also allowing you to have plenty of free time, which means you can go out and discover on your own. But even more important to that, and what we mean when we say that we bring travelers together, is the camaraderie that comes from traveling with fellow Canadians and friends who share the same love for adventure, culture, and exploration. If you value that sense of connection, the opportunity to share experiences, and the freedom to explore at your own pace, then you've definitely come to the right place. We have a simple goal, two actually. We call it being well traveled and well connected. And when we say well traveled, we don't just mean ticking destinations off of a bucket list, which is nothing, again, wrong with having a bucket list. Every traveler has some kind of list of destinations they've always wanted to visit. But what we mean is that we want you to stay curious, adventurous, open to shifting your perspective as you explore new places. This is how that travel has the power to change the way that we see the world. And equally, being well connected is important to us because it's about forging friendship that lasts long after the trip ends. It's about building a community of fellow travel enthusiasts who share stories, tips, dreams for future adventures together. Throughout this trip, you'll have plenty of opportunities to connect with your fellow members and also with the culture and the amazing people of Thailand. I just want to say a couple of things about who we are at Wheel and Anchor before I delve into the details of this trip. First of all, my name is Gordon Drager. I'm the founder of Wheel and Anchor. I've been working in and around travel for 35 years. Uh, I started when I was 15. Anyway, I'm kidding. I've organized trips for Canadians to all parts of the globe. But I couldn't pull off this amazing mission that we've set for ourselves and our members without an incredible team of people, all of whom are dedicated to ensuring that we deliver the best possible experiences for our members. But the person who's most important to you is our lead trip specialist, Paula Zdarnik. You can see a picture of her here. She's the person that you can call, reach out to, or email, and who will be most likely the one that you'll talk to if you have questions about or if you're considering joining this or any one of our trips. Now, let's dive into what makes this Koh Samui trip so special. And our plan for doing that is pretty straightforward. I'm going to be your virtual guide as I take you around a little journey around not only Koh Samui, but our pre-trip program to Bangkok and Chiang Mai. This way, you'll find out what you can expect from this live away trip and all of the highlights of each day. Before I do that, a little geography lesson though. I'm a map guy, and perhaps you are too. Thailand obviously sits down in the corner of Southeast Asia, sometimes, although not as often referred to as Indochina. It's got Cambodia to its east, it's got Myanmar, formerly known as Burma, to the west, and Malaysia to the south. While it may appear small on the map compared to Canada, it is small, but it's a pretty large country because if you see Bangkok, which is the capital city, and of course where we're going to fly into, it is roughly 500 kilometers as the crow flies north of Koh Samui, which is more on the southern part of Thailand. And you've got the whole northern part of Thailand, Chiang Mai, which is almost the same distance to the north in the northernmost part of the country, not far away from Myanmar, as I just mentioned. Koh Samui is the second largest island in the country. If you were to drive all the way around it, it would be about 60 kilometers and take you around an hour to an hour and a half, depending on the traffic. It's a good sized island, and we are going to be staying over here in the touristic part of the island. Basically, the whole north coast and east coast is where the vast majority of travelers will come and stay in Thailand. We're going to be staying right on the most beautiful and perhaps longest beach on the island, called Chaweng. It's a short distance from the airport, but also has a whole range of amenities that are literally just footsteps from the hotel. And I'll tell you about that in just another moment. Because before I get into talking about Koh Samui, I'd like to take you through our pre-trip program, which takes us to Bangkok and Chiang Mai. And we begin with Bangkok. Bangkok is, in the meantime, a relatively easy city to get to, since we have a nonstop connection on Air Canada from Vancouver to Bangkok during our winter season, which means you can connect from just about all points in Canada to Vancouver and then have a nonstop flight. That being said, there are a number of other routings that you can take, other airlines that you can take, traveling via Japan, via Taiwan, Hong Kong. There's really a myriad of options to get to Bangkok. As you fly into Bangkok, you'll immediately get a sense of the size of the city, which has over 10 million people. Landing at Suvarnabhumi Airport, you'll see also that this is one of the major hubs of Southeast Asia. And depending on where your plane actually arrives at, you may have upwards of 600 or 700 meters to get from the gate area to where you cross immigration and collect your luggage. But there's lots of moving sidewalks, so you don't have to worry about that. We're going to transfer you into downtown, and we're going to be staying right on the Chao Phraya River, which you can see pictured here at the beautiful Anantara Riverside Resort. After a day of rest, when you arrive the next day, we're going to get right at it and see some of the highlights that this amazing city has to offer. We're going to start right away with a short tour down the Chao Phraya River, which is just, of course, outside of our hotel. This is the main waterway, and you'll get a sense of how life unfolds on this important river, as well as all of the so-called klongs or canals that feed into it. And our first stop is going to be the Grand Palace, which is home of the Temple of the Emerald Buddha and the official residence of the king, although he doesn't actually usually live there. From there, we'll hop on a tuk-tuk. You can't visit Bangkok without going on one of the famous tuk-tuks. And we'll have a short but thrilling ride over to Wat Po, which is a temple and the home of the massive reclining Buddha. We'll then have lunch right on the river, and we'll zip over to another temple called Wat Arun, the Temple of Dawn, where you can admire the beautiful spires and take in the views across the river. Heading back to our hotel, we'll have a wonderful opening dinner, a welcome dinner, right along the Chao Phraya River on a riverboat, where you get to see the amazing skyline of the city at night. A great way to start our visit of Thailand. Our next full day is going to get us up a little bit earlier than we might otherwise like to, but we're going to visit some of the remarkable markets that Bangkok and her environs are known for. Our first stop will be the super cool Maiklong Railway Market, and we'll see how the vendors who've lined up all their stalls all along the railway tracks will immediately pull back before the train comes. We might even have the opportunity to hand the engineer of the train a little cup of coffee or a fruit smoothie as they go by, and then we'll witness how the vendors all go back and set up their stalls again, ready to continue preparing their goods for sale. We'll also have a chance to sample some of the street food in Thailand, which is part of what makes the whole experience at this market interesting and unique. We'll then head over and visit one of Bangkok's famous floating markets. We'll get into our own longtail boat and venture out into this hustling, bustling market where many of the merchants are floating around on the canal. Here, you can buy anything from a coconut to a cup of coffee, or maybe even some mango sticky rice from one of the merchants selling their wares from their own boats. The second part of our pre-trip through Thailand takes us up to the city of Chiang Mai, about an hour flight north of Bangkok. We're going to be staying right in the center of Chiang Mai's Old Town. And here you're going to find an amazing blend of heritage as well as modern charm. The city dates back to the latter part of the 13th century, and it was the capital of the Lana Kingdom. We're going to find out a lot more about this from our local guide who's going to take us through various sites on the second day of our adventure here. The walled city, or the once walled city, is encircled by a 1 mile long, 1.6 kilometer long moat. And we'll see the remnants of the fortified walls that were originally built to defend against the invaders. The old town is home to over 300 temples. We're not going to visit all of them, but we'll certainly see some of the most famous ones, including the Wat Chetty Luang, which is only a ruin dating back to the 15th century, and has this incredible towering brick stupa. There is the Wat Phra Singh, which has incredible golden architecture and a revered Buddha statue where pilgrims come from all over Thailand to visit and worship. We'll see the oldest temple. We'll also see some of the symbolic landmarks of the city, like the Taipei Gate, which was once the main entrance to the city and now is a square which is a bustling hub for festivals and markets and many of the city's cultural events. The whole old town is very walkable, which makes it so appealing. And as I said, we're going to be staying right in the center of this beautiful old town. What makes Chiang Mai so interesting is not only the city itself, but some of the rural areas. And we're going to take a visit out to a local coffee farm. Arriving in this tiny village, which seems like it's hardly ever seen a foreign tourist and might only have ever been visited by Wheel and Anchor members, I'm not sure. We're going to visit Sawang Tong Di, who is a lifelong traveler, and his journey has evolved around two things: his bicycle and his love of coffee. He's a fascinating individual and took time to explore coffee cultures all around the world. And he now runs a little cafe called Nomad Coffee, and will gets all of his beans from the ones in the local community. We'll learn all about the coffee making process, from picking beans, like you can see some of our members have done on previous trips, and as well as the roasting process. After that, we'll explore a little bit around Kun Lao, which is a village high up in the mountains, to get a glimpse of rural life. We'll have a delicious local lunch, and then we'll return late afternoon back to Chiang Mai to take in some of the city's amazing markets. On our next full day in Chiang Mai, we're going to head out in the opposite direction to take in some of the mountainous landscapes of Chiang Mai. Our principal visit will be to Doi Sutep, which is a sacred mountain temple that overlooks the whole city. And on a clear day, you have a terrific view overlooking the valley and the city itself. We'll also visit not only the gold leafed adorned temple of Doi Sutep, but also Wat Palat, which is often overlooked by many visitors. It's tucked away in the forest, but it's really a gem. In fact, some of our members have commented that they like this one better because it's a very serene environment, kind of what you imagine that the Buddhist monks would appreciate and enjoy, more so than the tourist-filled temple of Doi Sutep. Both are interesting experience. And when we return back to Chiang Mai later in the afternoon, if it happens to be a Sunday, you can stroll around the Sunday market, which is one of the most famous markets in the city. It's got crafts, food, entertainment. It's really a good glimpse of local life. There's markets happening almost every day of the week in Chiang Mai. And so even if it's not a Sunday, you'll certainly have the opportunity to see what the street markets of Thailand are all about. We'll have another day devoted to taking in the old town itself, particularly some of its artisans. This is the best opportunity to get a glimpse of the vibrant arts and culture scene. And our walking artisan tour will take us through various parts of the old town. We'll see the temples I talked about before. And more importantly, we'll learn about the unique Lana style artwork that defines the whole region. We're going to participate in a couple of art workshops where we'll have a chance to create something inspired by the design and architecture that we've seen. And then we'll have one last group dinner for our pre-trip here in Chiang Mai. We'll celebrate the experiences as well as get a chance to get some more delicious Thai cuisine, and specifically Lana cuisine, which is so different than some of the food in other parts of Thailand. We head back to the airport in Chiang Mai for our quick hop flight down to Bangkok and on to the island of Koh Samui, where our live away will begin. For those who are opting to join us just for our main LiveAway program, our trip will begin here with your arrival in to the beautiful island of Koh Samui. You'll land at the airport, which, in my opinion, is actually one of the most beautiful airports in the world. It's almost completely outdoors, surrounded by gardens and ponds. A very welcoming sight compared to most traditional airports. And we'll be whisked off to our hotel. It's only a mere 10 minutes away from the airport. Our arrival day will be all about easing in, settling, putting our feet up, exploring the hotel and the surrounding area, including the beach and the vibrant town center. Koh Samui is not terribly well known by people in Canada, unless, of course, you've perhaps traveled around to Thailand in the past or have heard from your other younger family members who may have backpacked around Southeast Asia and stopped in to explore its sun-soaked beaches. A mere 40 years ago, it was consisted pretty much only of fishermen and coconut farmers, and this island has evolved, and as I mentioned, to one of the top sun destinations for travelers, not only from Thailand and Asia, but from all around the world. Koh Samui is surrounded by shallow turquoise waters that are the perfect backdrop for relaxation, but at the same time offer a lot of insight into Thailand's culture. Our hotel is the quintessential wheel and anchor retreat because, compared to most resort hotels in a beach setting like here, it's relatively small with only 53 rooms and situated right on the beach. What I was most impressed with when I first toured this hotel a few years back was the lush jungle environment that exists between the rooms, between the reception and the beach. When you walk through, you wouldn't even know that you're in the middle of a busy urban environment. As I mentioned, the hotel sits right on Chaweng Beach, which is a 5 kilometer stretch of powdery white sand, one of the most beautiful beaches, not only on the island, but in the whole Gulf of Thailand. In front of the hotel, there's a coral reef that stretches a good distance along the beach, which protects the beach from heavy swells most of the time and means that you have a really tranquil environment. The beach itself has tons of activities, water sports. There's all kinds of nightlife and restaurants, and you can even get a massage right down on the beach if you want to have an authentic Thai experience. Or, of course, the hotel features its own luxury spa facility. Besides swimming in the ocean, of course, the hotel has a big, huge, and beautifully laid out swimming pool, which is right down next to the beach. And of course, all of the dining facilities as well allow you to enjoy breakfast while looking out over the turquoise blue waters. What I like most about the hotel, honestly, though, are the rooms, which are quite large and designed in wood, as you can see here. And they've captured a lot of the traditional elements of Thai culture, which really sets this hotel apart from so many other hotels that have been built recently, which tend to follow the more contemporary approach. As we do on all our liveaways, we'll have an orientation tour on the first day to give you a sense of what's in the nearby vicinity. Our local guide, together with your host, will take you on a little walking tour up and down the streets of Chaweng, which will allow them to show you where some of our favorite dining spots are, as well as where you can get your laundry done, and some of the night spots where members on previous trips have gotten together on a regular basis to socialize and put their heads together about all the things that are available to do on Koh Samui. That evening, we'll have the first of our Wheel and Anchor mingles, a little get together that'll give you a chance to meet your fellow travelers, those who were on the pre trip, as well as those who flew in for the Liveaway itself. It's always a fun event and usually sets the stage for some new connections and friendships. Our first excursion of our Liveaway is perhaps my most favorite. It's a boat trip that takes us out to the spectacular Ang Thong Marine Park. We'll head out from the north shore of Koh Samui in a speedboat, which I hand-picked myself from amongst a whole bunch of tourist boats that generally aren't very conducive to the kind of experience we like to deliver. And so we have quite a unique boat that has gives great views for the small group of members that will take on this adventure. The trip across takes about an hour, crossing some of the most beautiful waters with great views of the north shore of Koh Samui. And we will make a number of different stops among this archipelago of islands. And this picture gives you a great sort of idea of what this is all about. It's a little bit reminiscent of places like Guilin in China or Halong Bay in Vietnam. We'll stop to snorkel. We'll go to a couple of beaches, and there's even a chance to go to this very viewpoint from where this photo is taken, those that are willing to make the trek up. Quite a few stairs. There's also a delicious seafood lunch at a small fisherman's village, one of the only settlements on the islands since it's a national park, and there's otherwise nobody living here. We then have a free day to relax or perhaps go out and explore a little bit on our own. Free days are really the perhaps the most important part of our Live Away programs. But there's also the opportunity to participate in one of our optional excursions. And so we include a mix of the highlights that our members reported were their most favorite excursions, as well as other things that give you a great selection of things to do. That enables you to keep as busy as you'd like, or have a more chill and relaxed holiday. In this case, we have the opportunity to do the Thai culinary experience. And of course, you're probably familiar with Thai food. It's renowned around the world, right up there with Chinese restaurants, but I think even more flavorful and exciting. We'll for those that decide to join us on this excursion, we'll meet Kun Ta. We've worked with her for a number of years. She's a renowned local chef. She has her own organic garden, again, not far from the hotel, and she'll teach us a little bit about the different ingredients that are found in Thai cuisine. And of course, we'll have the opportunity with her to prepare some local dishes. Thai cuisine, although it tastes so delicious, is remarkably easily to do on our own. So on this excursion, we'll find out all about that and perhaps learn how we can make Thai food back home. Another completely free day to explore Koh Samui. By this time, you'll have a pretty good sense of all the options of things to do. One of the things that Thailand, of course, is also famous for is Muay Thai, which is a form of martial arts. And so I know that many members have gotten tickets on past trips and headed over to Pechfuncha Stadium, actually walking distance, a bit of a walk from our hotel. To take in this famous sport. There's also a chance to go to different parts of the island, like for example, Fisherman's Village, which is a whole collection of shops and restaurants. They have a market 3 times a week. It's on the north shore of the island, where you might want to just hang out at the beach or visit one of the other beach clubs along Chaweng Beach or at the other beaches that are not far from our hotel. Today, we offer the opportunity to go and see some Asian elephants. This is one of those experiences for animal lovers, and many of our members have perhaps gone on safari in Africa and seen them in the wild. Of course, elephants have traditionally been used for doing hard labor, much as oxen were back home. And in some parts of Southeast Asia, they're still used for this purpose. Also, they have been used in the past, and unfortunately still are for entertainment purposes. But in Koh Samui, they have established this amazing sanctuary called the Samui Elephant Kingdom. It's the only one on the island where the elephants can actually roam freely. They get lots of care and attention. In fact, they're all adopted, as it were, from otherwise, forced labor conditions where they were not treated perhaps as well as they should. During this excursion, you get a chance to learn about the elephants and the story of how they got to be in the sanctuary. We'll see adults that spent most of their life, again, in less than ideal conditions, and we'll also see some baby elephants that are born in the sanctuary. You get a chance to feed them, and the whole place, the whole experience is, and I have this on account from people I know in the animal protection and welfare. They really do a good job, and this is the kind of experience that is right and good to witness. More free time, and in the evening we'll have a little sunset cruise. Our hotel, being located on the east coast of the island, offers some spectacular sunrises. But for those who don't like to get up too early in the morning while out on holiday, we can experience a sunset by going from the north shore of the island again on a wonderful catamaran trip or a similar vessel. We head out towards the island of Koh just to the north, and we'll go out well before sunset, so there'll be a chance to do a little bit of swimming, snorkeling. We'll watch the sun descend down into the sea. Thailand is known for its amazing sunsets, and then we'll have a wonderful barbecue dinner on board before heading home. Today, we'll head out on an optional excursion for those that want to explore a little bit of the island's interior, which comprised of some mountainous jungle. On our 4x4 excursion, we'll hop into some sturdy vehicles and head up into the hills off the beaten track, as it were. We'll go to places that ordinary vehicles can't go simply because they get stuck. And we'll stop at a number of viewpoints where we'll get some great vistas over the island. We'll also learn about the rubber trees, which still to this day are one of the agricultural products that are grown on the island. We'll also visit a durian farm. And if you haven't heard about durian before, well, it's quite a fruit because you'll probably smell it long before you see it. It's known for being the stinkiest fruit. In fact, hotels and airlines prohibit you bringing durian back, despite its kind of brutal smell. The taste is really unique. So it's one of those things that I encourage you to try while you're there. We'll see a temple up in the hills and also visit a magic garden, which has a whole array of Buddha statues. Part of the experience of visiting Thailand is undoubtedly to visit a temple and understand a little bit more about Buddhist culture. Together with our local guide, we'll head out and visit a couple of different temples, including Khao Huajuk, which is high up in a hill and offers some great views. But of course, it's not just about the views, but rather understanding a little bit more about what Buddhism is all about, because I think it's widely misunderstood and, in fact, interpreted by most as a religion. But there's more to it than that, because it's kind of a way of life. We'll witness a chanting session by Buddhist monks, and we'll take part in the traditional food offering ritual. We'll have a chance to then speak to a monk, ask our questions about Buddhism and why many young Thai men choose to become monks. We'll then head over to Plai Lam Temple, which has this incredible Guayin statue that you see pictured here, the goddess of compassion and mercy. It's a beautiful lotus pond that surrounds the whole thing, and so it's quite a majestic sight. This is one of the most photographed temples on the island. We'll then head over to Big Buddha, which is a huge 12-meter high golden Buddha that sticks out on a peninsula into the Gulf of Thailand. Today, you'll have another free day to explore a bit of the island, or you can participate in an excursion that, on the face of it, probably won't mean much. Another free day to go out and explore some of the island or relax at the beach. But we have an interesting optional excursion. In fact, if you were to ask former participants in this LiveAway program, many would say this was their most favorite excursion. And this is a honey rose herbal demonstration. We're going to head over to the other side, the west side of the island, and meet the founder of this organization who combines her passion along with a little bit of silence to create Honey Rose, which is a line of medicinal cosmetics and products that are all made from organic ingredients that are grown right there on her garden. She makes Thai medicine, she makes massage oils, soaps, and even mosquito repellent. This is perhaps the most popular souvenir that your fellow members have taken home with them on previous trips. After finishing this amazing experience, we'll head back, and that evening we'll take in another interesting part of Thai culture. We'll see a cabaret show where we will see uh, um, women or transgendered women who participate in this wonderful display of song and dance, all done in a very appropriate way. It's a lot of fun, great laughs, and again, a highlight of our cultural experience in Thailand. Our next excursion takes us to the sister island of Koh Phangan, very near and dear to me because that's actually my home. On this day-long visit, we'll hop on the local ferry that'll take us for the 30-minute ride from Koh Samui over to Koh Phangan. And our local guide, which may very well be myself, will pick you up at the pier and we'll cross over the island and get an explanation of what this island that's about two-thirds the size of Koh Samui is all about. It's almost two-thirds covered by national park and forest, and is slowly being built up and developed, but offers some of the most beautiful natural scenery anywhere. And we'll take in a little bit of that. Depending on the weather conditions and other factors, we may stop in at one of the island's beautiful waterfalls, head into the jungle, perhaps even see some monkeys along the way, and really get a taste of what the Thai jungle is all about. We'll then head to the coast and we'll hop on one of these longtail boats, like you can see in the image here, and we will stop at again, weather and seas permitting, three different beaches. One of my favorite spots, Bottle Beach, otherwise inaccessible other than by boat or by 4x4 over the mountain. So it's a little more secluded beach on the north end of the island. We'll have a great lunch at another beach at a spot that a local family that I know very, very well. She does a phenomenal poke bowl, one of the best meals that we'll have on the trip, I think, and enjoy some beach time. And then we'll head around the northwest corner of the island, again by longtail boat, about a 30-minute trip heading down to the west coast. To take in yet another of the island's amazing beaches. Overall, it'll give you a taste of this island that I like to call home, a very, very special place in the Gulf of Thailand. Another free day on our trip, or the chance to join us to a trip to a waterfall on the west coast of Samui. This excursion is for those who are perhaps a tad more adventurous, and you can see our members on the right side of this photo negotiating their ways through the jungle. It's not as actually as difficult as it looks, but it is certainly for the sure-footed. We'll head over to the Hinlad Waterfall, which is a beautiful spot in the jungle. Again, get away from the heat. We'll go early to avoid crowds. We'll stop at a beautiful temple that's situated back in the jungle, and then we'll take a hike up the waterfall. It takes about anywhere between 30 minutes and three-quarters of an hour to get to the top. We'll head up about 150 meters. So again, it isn't for the faint of heart, but it's certainly fun to do a little trekking by a waterfall. We'll have a chance to cool off in two different freshwater pools. It's about a 3 kilometer long hike, but again, the natural beauty is sometimes what we forget and what we miss. Most people on Koh Samui miss because you're situated on the east side, the very populated side along the beach. So this is a great way to see some of the natural beauty that the island has to offer. Our trip will wrap up with 2 free days, and on this second last day, we will enjoy our farewell dinner. We always have our farewell dinner in our longer distance destinations on the second last night, only because some people have to will end up having to take early morning flights, and we want you to be able to enjoy this experience to the fullest. It's always one of the highlights because it's a chance to reconnect with everybody in the group, friends that you'll have made during your time here, and to share some photos and stories from your wonderful time on Koh Samui. and one last free day on the island to enjoy some of the things that you may have already learned about during your stay. By this time, you will have experienced the island by boat, by longtail, perhaps. You'll have driven around it, maybe up and over it by 4x4. You'll have a good sense of what it has to offer. And so, most people I find generally book in for their last massage if it's something that you hadn't been accustomed to before coming to Thailand. By this point, many